What's going on, my lovely people? Back again once again for another episode of Judgment Free with NB3. I'm your host, Nils Bernard III. So, we all know it's Black History Month, so hopefully we all have had an enjoyous, informative Black History Month, meaning that you learn something outside of what is normally taught or forced down, our throats as far as who was great, who did what right. So I make it a point every Black History Month to learn some outside of what I already know and to just expand my knowledge on knowledge of self and just my people in general. But on the funny note though, since we're talking about Black History Month, so at our church, at Gospel Hill Baptist Church, we did a Black History Month program. It was pretty much children led. They could come up and talk about a historic figure. So we wore we was dressed up this kind of African garb, but whatever he had, or pretty much the theme was like all black. But it was funny because after church, me and my wife went to Walmart, and I had my King T'Challa on, y'all. I was talking about like the African stole, the necklace that Black Panther wear, that type of thing, and my African garb, my clothes and stuff. And we was walking around Walmart, and I spotted these two young white boys. It was funny. They spotted me, and I was like, okay. And they followed us to the next aisle, and then they approached me. It was like, "Excuse me, sir. I see the clothes you have on." He's like, "What country are you from?" So I just chuckled just like that, and I was like, I just looked and I was like, man, I said, I'm from here, bro. It just, we had a Black History Month celebration, and we was dressing up and everything. And my wife, she took off. She just walked off. She said she wasn't going to entertain that. So that had me rolling. But I was just laughing, though. I mean, they were respectful. They wasn't, they didn't come up, disrespectful or sideways. But it was funny, though. They was like, well, you got a nice fit on, man. I said, appreciate it, man, But yeah, it's just, you get stuff like that. And the crazy part, before we went into Walmart, I said, I wonder who gonna say something. It's only gonna be white people, of course. But I said, no, who gonna say something to me or us? But never fails. But that's life though. But I thought I got a good chuckle out of that though, cause I'm gonna be unapologetically me. But yeah. So Black History Month has came and gone now. So. But that was my funny story for this Black History Month. But my wife, of course, she was saying you should have said you was from Wakanda. Oh man. But yeah, I couldn't bring myself to do it, but it was hilarious. It was hilarious, man. But that's life. People gonna people. But yeah, so yeah, this month has been a month, y'all. So this episode's gonna be a little more intense than maybe the past couple ones. February has a lot of birthdays that we celebrated. So my baby sister, my best friend from 6th grade, Chanel. Another good friend, Star. My nephew, my oldest nephew, my stepson, and my oldest daughter, of course, all celebrating the month of February. So all those birthday shout outs and busy month. So and then but the reason I say this this episode's gonna be a little bit more heavy and intense because I got a lot of questions this month, and I talked to a couple different people, right? And one of the questions I got a few times the month of February was, why do I do this podcast, or why do I, go on YouTube, upload videos, and talk about myself and my life and what I'm going through. For some of my close friends or whatnot, they were just inquiring about, what's the end goal, like what's the, what's the why, right? So, and I really pondered on it. I really thought about that because, I'm an avid user of social media, have been so for the last, 15 years or so, right? And obviously it's getting more and more as time go on. But what I realize is that when you on social media, if you're not careful, you can get wrapped up into a lot of negative energy, a lot of negative self-talk, just a lot of negativity, right? And for me, you can find somebody or anybody or a group of people at the drop of a hat that's going to confront somebody else, or confront this or confront that, or antagonize this, right? Or talk badly about, something outside of themselves. And for me, I take the other route. I'm going to come over here and talk about me. I'm going to confront myself, because not a lot of people doing that. You can find all the confrontations with people got problems with other people, or systems or whatnot, but you don't find too many videos or people that's confronting themselves and talking through how they got to that point, and how they got past it. I got through it, with self. So that's one of the big reasons why I do it, because I have to bring the balance to this social media world, right? Because if you're not careful, like I said, you can just mindless scrolling, right? And then before you know it, you then soaked up and you fed your soul so much negativity to where you become pessimistic, or you can't see the silver lining anymore, right? Because a lot of that stuff is designed for you to stay in that state of mind, right? And I'm here to shake things up. I'm here to let people know, yes, we have moments, we have bad moments, we have negative people around us, in and around us and everything. We have our negative thoughts, but at the end of the day, you are in control and you have a choice. Every single day you wake up, right? So I choose to confront myself. I choose to see what plagues me as far as my existence, my being. Nothing outside of me. I'm talking about me, right? So that's why I've gotten more aggressive with promoting my YouTube channel, right? So I mean, anybody who know me or met me in the last few months, like, I don't waste no time. Like, we'll talk, and then I'll ask for social media, and I'll say, I'm gonna send you my YouTube channel, like, and I'll send the link and put it out there, because again, and another reason that prompts me to do it, because you get sent so much nonsense or funny videos or some crazy stuff, right? People you barely talk to, right? They'll just mass send you a clip that goes viral, and it does nothing for your soul, your spirit, or nothing like that, right? So I'm like, okay, well, what I'm doing is going to actually help people and serve people, right? So I'm going to put this in people's face as well too. So I do it unapologetically. A lot of people get the direct messages from me. That's because I'm actually finding people that I feel could use or benefit from it, or use on my mind, right? And I'm going to send it to you. Just like I get these sent funny, stupid videos, or videos that don't make no sense, right? Or some I've probably seen already, right? So that's the reason why I get more aggressive now as time go on, because why not? I don't feel bad about it. Either they're gonna look at it or not. Just like when I get sent something, right? Either I'm gonna click on it or not. And if I do, I decide how long I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch the whole thing, a piece of it, a part of it, or am I gonna share it and send it, right? The only thing I actually send or share are my videos, because I feel as though the videos that I get sent, the funny stuff and everything, it's gonna get around anyway, right? Because people want to be entertained and people want to be distracted. So the only thing I send out or share is my stuff, because ain't nobody else is doing it. Ain't nobody sending me videos like that. And for the most part, I'm not saying, of course, I'm the only one doing what I'm doing, but I'm saying that for the most part, I'm getting a video that's gonna make you laugh, cry, be shocked, shock value, trauma porn type stuff, right? So I'm trying to raise the vibration, especially in my black boys and men, which I come across in my time, especially at TSU and just out and about. Like, I come across men that really want to talk and really want to be heard, right? And this is why I'm in counseling. I'm a counselor in training for my master's program, because I know there's men out there who want to release and get it off. Case in point. So we was at a birthday outing, one of my good close friends, right? And I met this young man, black dude. We've never met before, but we were trying to figure out how we never met, because we have a mutual friend, right? For years and years and years. But nonetheless, we were sitting down, we were talking, and within like the first 30 minutes to 45 minutes, right, we were just, exchanging histories about our backgrounds and different problems, right? So once that happened, he opened up about his marital problems with his kids, just manhood problems, right? And mind you, we just met. So he talked about 15 minutes straight, and I sat there and listened to him. And then once he was done, the first thing he said and noticed, he said, hey man, man, thanks for listening, bro. Because like you didn't interrupt or nothing, man. Like, I appreciate that. And I was like, look, man. And I told him, I said, look, one, I'm in training for this. One, I said, two, I know what people need because I need it. I understand when you have something to say and people cut you off or try to answer it for you or finish your own thought. It's like, can you listen to me? Can I share my experience? Can I share my story, right? So I felt that, right? But that was the first thing he said after he got done talking or saying his piece. He was like, man, he said, I appreciate that, because he also mentioned, he said, man, if this was 6 years ago, I said, I wouldn't be talking to you, or we wouldn't be talking about this, real deep personal stuff, right? So as a man, as a black man to another black man that's opening up and sharing and knowing it's not easy, I commended him. I said, hey, bro, I appreciate you for evolving and able to open up and talk to me, even though we just met, because you just said if it was 6 years ago, this wouldn't be happening, right? So you could have been stuck in that version of yourself and like, what it is. I ain't got to change. I ain't going to change, right? But I commended him, because I don't think as men and black men we hear it enough, right? The women want us to talk, right? And we get to talking, and then, some will go left, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna shut back down. So I didn't judge him. I let him speak his own experience, his own words. I didn't try to like solve his problems, but he really appreciated that, and I appreciate him opening up and telling me this stuff, right? Because he didn't have to, because we just getting to know each other, right? So of course we exchanged, numbers and everything. I gave my YouTube channel, right, in true fashion, right? But that was one of those things where I'm trying to tell people, like, this is why I do this, because there's people who are going to watch this video, especially young boys and men, who want to be like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like, he make it look easy. Maybe it's not all that bad, right? And they'll go and talk to their boys or their women or whoever is special important to their life, right? So that's why I go hard, and I'm gonna continue to go harder, because I go out in this world, man, and I meet people and they want to talk. Matter of fact, they need to talk. And I ask people, I was like, you got people you can confide in and talk to? Most of the time they say no, because it's a certain feeling, right? That safety, that feeling of like, this person actually gonna listen to me and not invalidate my feelings or tell me I'm wrong or judge me, right? People look for that. So, I mean, to say that people don't want to talk is for a reason, because I'm around people I just met and they open up, and we have a good dialogue, and whether it be male or female, it don't matter, right? But it's just one of those things where, like, I understand people, and I love people. I want to, help people, and I guess it just oozes up out of me, because like, I love to hear people's stories. How do we get here? My whole entire thing is like, okay, how do we both end up here? in this space, at this school, at this event, whatever, right? How do we end up here, right? And I want to sit there and listen, because it's not my job to tell your story. It's not my job to define your feelings. That ain't my job. My job is to just listen. And then when I mean listen, I mean active listening. Listen to understand, not to respond, right? And that is a real superpower these days, right? Because people don't really actively listen, right? People listen to respond, and they're waiting their turn to say what they got to say. But it is definitely a superpower nowadays that I'm realizing, to somebody who would be actively listening to somebody. That's being real personal and talking about some real stuff. So it's events and situations like those that invigorate me to do this even more. Because you find one, you find 10 more that want to get out there and talk to somebody who's actually going to, listen and actually help them work through things and not condemn them or judge them or talk about what they would have done or their experience, right? We can compare notes, right? But it's not to say my notes are better than yours, or it's not to say that you did that wrong. No, it ain't about that. It's about expressing the experience that I can never experience for you or with you, because it's your experience, and you're going to describe it and put it in words as best you can, and I can interpret it and understand the best I can. That's it. But then you go deeper by asking questions to understand, not just to respond, to ask questions to understand. So that was a good exchange, and I plan. I'm sure we'll have many more in the future, right? But since I've started TSU, I've had a couple of those, especially with men, black men, we get to talking and open the floodgates, right? So, and then also too, like even recently, shopping, not shopping, but promoting my YouTube channel. Like a lot of people I'm meeting at TSU or through school or whatnot, they getting on it, my YouTube channel quick, like as soon as I give it to them, right? So that is cool too, like, because they don't owe me nothing, it ain't no pressure type thing, right? But I appreciate the fact that they inquire, and like, let's see what it's about, because after the conversation with me, they like, okay, they probably like, okay, let's see what this is about for real, because they probably enjoyed or got something from the initial conversation we had. So that's why I think it is probably, right? But either way, I just appreciate all the support, whether it's new or old. So, but yeah, so that's why I do it. I confront myself, and to the fact that, like, all right, when I talk about confront myself, I mean stuff like, as well, even in relationships, right? For me, when I do a selfish act, or I'm not acknowledging my wife, or something, I missed the mark, right? When it comes to relationship, whether it be an intimate relationship or friendship, family, whatnot. But especially for my marriage, right? I'm going to hear about it, right? I'm going to hear about it. So what I mean by confronting self is that, I focus on what was said and not how it was said. Now, it wasn't always like that at first, right? Because my wife would say something, and I'll focus on how she said it versus what she said, right? So, for us confronting myself is that I'll get told something, right? Because I don't got to get into details, right? Because it's not what it's about, right? We all been in relationships. You understand? You could fill in the blank, right? But I get told something that I did wrong or missed the mark on, and of course, as human beings, we start with defense, right? And then we deflect, right? Because we feel attacked or whatnot. Because we looking at and feeling, we looking at how the person is talking to us, how the person is delivering, the tone and delivery, right, and the posture versus what they're saying, right? I have to work through that, and I still do, but I'm just giving it, a real life example, right? So after the conversation or the argument or disagreement, whatever you want to call it, right, I make it a point to, after those interactions, I come in my man cave, or just get to myself, and I start analyzing me not her, not what she said, not how she said. I analyze me and my response, my reaction, right? I get to ask myself, why did I respond that way? What drove me to, so it's stuff like that. I get the processing, right? And I play back the conversation and see where I could have been better, where I missed the mark, or, what triggers, where it come from, why. So I make it a point to do that, right? And then when I come back, we come back together, I have a different viewpoint because I confronted myself, and pretty much, I didn't say this earlier, but this episode is called Mirror Mirror, right? Because I physically look myself in the mirror, right? As you can tell, every day I look myself in the mirror, but I also look at myself in the mirror as far as like my actions, how I'm moving, how I'm showing up, how I'm leaving the room, right? Those things, right? And a lot of people are not doing that. They're focused on the other person. They're focused on how the other person made them feel, or what they said, how they said it, right? So it's one of those things where, man, and it's hard. It ain't easy, but I get into my space, my little corner, and and it'll take me hours, sometimes days, but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna unravel all the things I said, my tone, my delivery, my reaction, whether it was knee-jerk reaction, was it a methodical thought-out reaction or response. So, and I do that to better myself as I communicate with my wife and people around me. But obviously the major relationship is my marriage, of course. So I'm using that as the catalyst of all this because I'm not perfect. I'm human, but we get on here, we can talk about what the wife, what the husband, what the girlfriend, boyfriend, what the mom, dad, sister, brother did. We can get on there and that's easy. That's easy, right? But we don't get on there and talk about, okay, what did I do? How did I respond? How did I make that better or worse? How can I have shown up better? How can I have, interpret that, right? So that's what I focus on. After any spat or the disagreement or argument, I focus on me, how I showed up. And I think if more people did that, I think the communication obviously would increase and understanding would increase and the overall, just love for one another would increase because you'll understand like, okay, we're both flawed human beings, but we're still human beings though, right? So we should be able to love, even when you don't like somebody or like something they did, you should be able to love through that at the end of the day, if y'all really about each other. That's how I see it, okay? And that's how I operate to the best of my ability. To the best of my ability. So it's definitely, yeah, it can be tough. It can be tough, but that reflection though, it is huge. It's huge. And I say that to just let people know, like, I'm still a work in progress. I don't have it all figured out. I don't. I can speak to it, right? I can discuss it. I can talk about it on here, in the internet or whatever, right? But at the same time, I'm still going through it. I'm still going through it. So, but that's an example, though. That's a real life example on how I confront myself, how I focus on me and not the other. Because at the end of the day, you can't control anything outside yourself anyway, right? So why would you put most of your energy outside of yourself? And that's what a lot of people mess up. A lot of people mess up. Now, for me, my wife know I'm a slow learner, right? So that probably comes from just not having father around for my formative years. I'm the big brother, so I had no real male role model to navigate this thing called life through, right? So, but women dominated my life, so I'm just naturally a slow learner, right? But the thing is, the flip side of that though, when I get it, right? I get it. So again, it's pros and cons to everything. Got to take the bad with the good, but I've learned that about myself, and I embrace it, right? I try to exercise no more shame and guilt, right? Because it is what it is. If you can change it, you will change it. But at the same time, because we're work in progress and we're not perfect, you still have to embrace all of you, flaws and all, not just the good pieces. And that goes to people who love you. Same thing, right? So that is a constant battle. That's a constant work. No days off when it comes to that. So this is why I do my channel. This is why I get on here and talk about my personal feelings, my personal events in life that maybe some of y'all could relate to, maybe not, but nonetheless, I'm talking about it, right? And I don't know who it is going to, affect, touch, or inspire or motivate, but that's not for me to really know, right? I'm doing my part in the universe, and I'm gonna let the universe take care of the rest. That's pretty much how I live my life for the most part, especially since my 30s, and I'm 40 now, so I kind of just let the universe do its thing and do my part, and kind of just like push away from the table at the end of the day, because you can't be married to the outcomes of life because you don't control life. I've learned that too. So it's definitely it can be a mind game, because again, we're emotional creatures. We want what we want, right? But at the same time, we're gonna look at do what we can do, and we're gonna control what we can control. So a lot of people get caught in the midst of all that, right? And I know I have. I have. So that's why I can speak to and talk about this, because at the end of the day, the energy that you do have to fight, what are you going to direct it toward? So, and that's important. That's important, because you want to be able to fight the correct fight, not any and every fight, not somebody else's fight. You want to be able to fight the correct fight. So I try to channel my energy as best I can. So yeah, but in a nutshell, that's what it is for me. And I'm going to continue to do this once a month, every month, right? So, and some days, some episodes will be lighter, some will be more, funnier or jovial, but it is what it is. That ain't for me to direct. That however life is going to lead me, however the universe leads me, that's what it's going to be. And y'all will get it when y'all get it. And when it hit me, it hits me. So, and that leads me to my final point of, like I said, self-evaluation, confronting self. All right, so on the 14th, February 14th, the only reason that day is special to me is because I became a father 15 years ago. So my oldest daughter, Blessing, she turned 15, right? And I knew coming, the day was coming up. So when my Texas Southern University Counseling Association was asking for dates to do a food drive volunteer event, I chose the 14th, because I was like, you know what? This will help me counterbalance probably my negative thoughts, my negative energy that I'm going to have, and direct it to something positive, something productive, right? So that's why I chose that date, because I knew for me, it was probably going to be a rough day. Not being able to talk to her and send her stuff to let her know I'm thinking about her. Right? That it's rough. I mean, it's going on year 4 now, but it don't get easier, right? So, and it was at the Shrine of Black Madonna in Houston, Texas, and the organization is called We Are One. We are one. Okay, they do this every Saturday from 9 to 12. So this is my second time going, because TSU Council Association, we did it last semester, right? So we try to do every semester different events, right? But that's become one of my favorite events now, because I've been homeless. We lived out of the van, so I understand what it's like to be in need, and not knowing where your next meal coming from, and stuff like that. Some of y'all who know me or follow me or really into my my YouTube channel, like I talk about my upbringing and everything, so that hits home for me. But I'm one, as a man, I'm down there, loading the cars up and everything, and running around, and I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I plan on doing it more. throughout the year versus just whenever TSU association picks a date. So, but I thoroughly enjoyed myself, being out there to help people, and just being blessed that I am not in need like that. And see, stuff like that makes you realize like how blessed you are. And but yeah, I mean, I was smiling and like, tell me having a good day and stuff like that. But that was me being counteractive because I knew I was probably gonna be in a little depressive state because my daughter's birthday. I can't really celebrate with her or acknowledge her like I want to, right? And situation is what it is. But hopefully, she's watching these videos and all of my daughters, and just to know that, I hope you had a wonderful birthday. You're getting older. You're probably as tall as me now, from when I seen you 4 years ago. But I just wish you the best, you and your sisters. And, we'll see each other when God says so, when the universe says so, right? But I was thinking about you all day, and for your birthday, and honor your birthday, I went out and helped other people because I couldn't get to you. So instead of being sour all day or being Debbie Downer, right, I transformed that energy to something positive, right? And that's the example I'm trying to set for my daughters and my stepchildren, my grandchildren, and all the people around me, right? Because we all go through things, but at the end of the day, what you gonna do with that energy, right? Because it ain't going nowhere. It can't be destroyed, right? It's going to change form. So I turned it into something positive, and it actually helped me get through that day. Of course, it still sucks because the nature of what it is, but it helped me get through that day, though. So that's another example of just knowing self, doing self-inventory, and looking yourself in the mirror, confronting self. All right? Because if you don't do it, nobody else is going to really do it for you, because you know what makes you tick. You know what's going on in your head, in your heart. Like, for real, for real. People can only guesstimate and assume, so they don't really know what it is for real, for real. So that's why the onus is on the individual to look in the mirror. Just like you would look at everybody else, and you look at everybody else from head to toe, and spot out what's wrong with them, right? Do that for self and see how much better you'll be in life. See how much happier you'll be in life when you start calling out your own mess. Now the key is the same intensity. The same intensity you call out anybody else when they wronged you or they out of pocket or whatever, you have that same intensity for yourself. That's what I want to see. And that's what I do for me. Now, I don't put my step down, right? But I'm saying, like, it's definitely, it can get there. It can get there. But have that same intensity, though. You got to have that same intensity. Because, again, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? All right, then. So, let's go ahead and get this work in. And y'all already know. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, it's on you. Nobody else. So don't blame nobody else. Don't look outside of you. Don't get mad. If you don't get better, it's because of you. Period, point blank. So appreciate all the support. People are going to watch this. Share it. Like it. Comments. I appreciate it all. Y'all don't owe me nothing, but it's out here for consumption. So do what you will with it. I'm going to continue to do me at the end of the day. But you already know I get my my promotions in. Intellectual Power. You already know. intellectualpower.net. Get your supplements. I don't know what you're taking, but it could be for you, for sure. Class Bookstore, Houston, Texas. Okay? Class Bookstore. It's one of the books I bought from there, but right here, this is their social medias and everything. Buy online. They don't got it in store. They can get it for you. So hit them up. Hit them up. So, yeah, Class Bookstore. My big bro, Zoe Williams. Let's Ride the Lighthouse. Get that self-work in. MrsOWhat.com. Get the book. Get the book. And of course, my big sister, Zaza Ali. ZazaAli.com. Get your workbooks. Change your mind from lack to abundance. The Science of Self. Yeah. And then for the ladies, Keys of Womanhood. I bought so many of these workbooks and gave them out to people. So, just some things to, get you started on this journey called life. Because if you ain't gonna do it, nobody else gonna do it for you. But until next time, folks, y'all already know what it is. I can help you, but I can't save you. That'll never change. But I will help, though. I will help to the best of my ability. Okay? So, until next time, I love y'all for free. And hopefully, if you had a bad February, hopefully March will be a lot better. So, but me, it starts here. All right, my people, peace.